Ready?
Yeah.
You look ready.
I am ready. Are you ready? Hopefully you're ready. As you can see, I am Paul. Mark will be here shortly. You may or may not have seen his posting on Instagram that today is his anniversary. So he is having an anniversary dinner with his wife, appropriately enough, since it is their anniversary. And he will be joining us momentarily. But until then, guess who's here? We'll tell you who right after this. That's who. That's who. That's who.
Surprise!
Oh,
I'm
as
back.
if you didn't know, it is Brother John joining us once again. Um, and like I said, Mark will be here shortly. But until then, we have the immense pleasure of being able to hang out with Brother John again.
Oh,
So
that's very kind. It's very generous that he invites me back uh whenever he's not around. That's the
yeah,
weird part, right? It's like uh he's avoiding me. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. It's whenever he can't be here, let's get him on.
yeah,
No.
hey, you know what? Whatever works, whatever works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we go any farther, though, I don't want to forget about our channel sponsors. As always, we have BTC Big Time Collectibles. They are probably the best online retailer. If you haven't seen, they've been dropping almost every single day. Is another chance to go and get some of those New York Comic Con exclusives that they had. So make sure you go over and check them out. Of course, we have Justin's Comics, Cleaning and Pressing. Um, does a great job. I had he did some comics for me not too long ago. Just a phenomenal job. He will also send them on to CGC and CBCS for you if you would like to. Of course, you have to give him your account information because he won't pay for them, but he'll send them directly there for you to kind of skip the middleman. And don't forget also, of course, we have ABX, ABX in the Augusta Book Exchange. They are the comic, the internet comic shop or the YouTube creators comic shop. Paul does a great job. He has people he's shipping out, I know, to Kansas and Ohio and all sorts of different places that he's shipping out books to people. So if you're having problems and you want to hook up with someone, maybe your local comic shop isn't doing it for you, reach out to Paul at ABX Comics and Games. So he will definitely take care of you. So I think that takes care of just about everything that we had to do before we get going. Let's take a look and see who is in the chat tonight. Pops, let's go Legionnaires. Thanks, Pops,
Look
for
at that.
joining us. Woohoo! And he
Pop beating
stole.
Las Cruces in.
He stole Las Cruces not only with the time but with the woohoo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and don't forget, you can get, see, it says Legion, DC Comics, Superman, Batman. It looks much different if you're in the chat, especially on your phone. He has access to all of those cute little, those nice little emojis, or whatever you want to call them. So
Yeah.
if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, first of all. But beyond subscribing, you could also become a channel member, and that gives you access to all the cool things,
Yeah.
all the emojis, and you have a different colored Legion comics depending on how long you've been a member. It also, most importantly, will enter you into the Legion loot drawing that Mark does once a month. So we will have that coming up next month. So there, speaking of Las Cruces, there he is. Hooray. We have White Tiger, Cool, Calm, Collected. Vamos, Legionnaires. Vamos.
Luigi.
That is Spanish for let's go, I believe, right? Vamos, Legionnaires. So let's go, Legionnaires. See, there's a woohoo from the woohoo
Gotta
originator.
get the night would not be right without a woohoo.
Exactly. Joseph Michaels, welcome back, Mark and Paul. Oh, that screenshot is so cool looking, isn't it? We're going to talk about that. So,
Yeah.
Gary B, thanks for joining us.
Always good to see Gary B.
That's Chris's. Oh, that's nice. Paul with 3 hearts. That's all right.
Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff. Thanks, Cliff. Did Mark get hit by another hurricane? No. Nope. He got hit by hurricane anniversary.
A
So he will be
hurricane
here.
of love.
Exactly. He will be here any moment. Hurricane Venus.
Mm.
So, Brother John, see, Brother John, you get 3 hearts as
Oh,
well.
they're my 3 hearts.
So,
I knew Cliff would come through.
Trev, thank you for joining us as well. Phil Ailing, and that is everyone, I believe, that is in the chat so far. So, so we got a lot to talk about. There were all sorts of things. First, I think maybe we want to hit on is because I know Mark hasn't seen it and I haven't seen it. Did you see Venom?
No,
Okay, no.
I haven't seen the original Venom,
Yeah.
but I will say, going back to the beginning of this stream where you were talking about big time collectibles, I'm not even a Venom fan, movies or comics, but those like negative color
Hmm.
Jang covers that they announced,
Yeah.
those things make me. It's like, man, I might have to pick up a Venom book. Those things look fire.
Yeah,
But
he
I
is
have
really killing it.
not seen the movie. I've seen the trailer, of course, and I'm a little curious to maybe see it just for the horse. But um, it's actually been getting some fairly decent, I wouldn't say reviews, but like just kind of word of mouth that it's a pretty fun send off kind of thing. Like, that they're kind of wrapping things up. So it makes me curious, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's gonna come in at probably 51 million dollars for the weekend, just domestic. Another like 125 million, I guess, world, outside, overseas. So like 175 million or so, for the whole weekend, worldwide, which is below. It's the lowest of the three so far. Um, that, I mean, typically that's kind of how they go. I think a lot of times is, the first one may do really well until they do a second one, and a lot of times the second one will surpass the first because they want to see what happens next. But then, oftentimes the third, unless it's Deadpool, the
Right,
third,
right.
usually is kind of, in many ways, ends up being, the least of the three from a monetary standpoint. It'll probably still make money, but yeah, it's definitely not, going to, um, break any box office records in
No,
regards to superhero
no.
movies. That's a,
I don't know what the budget was on it. Um, like
and
it's
I think
what does it say?
that's what
120 million.
right, which is why it'll still make money. The difference between that and Joker 2 is Joker 2 cost $200 million to
Right.
make. And so even if it was doing, it has to do that much more in order to make money. It's not even doing close to that. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It opened internationally at 124 million.
right,
So it's made back its budget, not
right,
any of its marketing or anything like
correct.
that.
Which
But
usually
it
you
made,
double. Usually you double the actual filming budget for
right.
everything else, and so a film typically has to do like 2.5 times in order to actually
Wash
make
it
any
even
money.
out.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Taylor Winter says, I'm not sure why people are expecting great things out of Venom 3. The first two were goddamn horrible. Don't know back, TW. Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah. Really.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a big Venom fan. Sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to echo the same thing. I'm not. I'm not real sure why they like. Did they go into this at the very beginning and say we're going to do a trilogy? Because I don't know enough about the story to know if it's connected in a 3-part kind of way. But I didn't think that reviews and feedback on the first two would have were strong enough for them to go, yeah, let's kick out another 120 million and make a third
Yeah,
one. I don't know who made that decision.
yeah, and I think originally people were kind of hoping that, okay, you know what, in the third one will Spider-Man actually show up? You know, uh,
Right.
obviously he doesn't. If you don't know, um, but that will bring us to our next topic that we'll talk about right after Venom. Um, but yeah, and I guess there are. I want to say for anyone who has seen it, verify. But I believe there are two post-credit scenes. One in the middle, obviously, and then one at the very end. One I understand is really kind of. Oop, there goes my camera. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that, but I needed to look at that.
Just needs
But
a break every once
it's
in a
like it
while.
it's like it times out on me, and I'm not really sure why it does that. But
It's having to
uh,
filter a lot of handsome through
oh,
its lens, so it has
that
to take a break every once in a while, maybe.
makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense.
I know mine
Uh,
does that. That's what I assume is what's happening.
um, so Heroes for Hire says he agrees with Taylor. again, it's kind of, I think in a lot of ways, almost seems like with the exception of Spider-Man proper, the Sony movies just really have never actually, in the Spider-Man universe, have just, I mean, Venom 1 and 2 did okay. They weren't blockbusters like a lot of the Marvel movies are, but I also think that one thing that may be holding it back, a couple things may be holding it back, is I think people were kind of disappointed in some ways with Venom 2, the Carnage one. Not really sure people were really loving that. But then the other thing is, and I hate to say it, but um, we're in the middle of a World Series that has New York and LA, the two
Right.
biggest markets. Probably the worst weekend for Venom 3 to come out is in the middle of, you take your two biggest markets basically, and it's doing, from a viewer standpoint, it's doing gangbusters. Which why wouldn't it? It's got
Sure.
the two biggest markets in America, so um, maybe we will see it not necessarily drop as much in week two. Um, but and it
Yeah.
it was it was originally, I guess, slated. They actually moved it up because it was slated to go a little bit further into November, and they just kind of moved it away from all the, Moana twos and Red one, and I can't think of the other one. There's another one from Gladiator two that's coming out in November. So,
Yeah.
um, has anyone else noticed that we never see Mark and Brother John at the same time? Maybe Mark is Brother John.
If
Well,
you had watched last week's Guess That Key, you'd have seen us right there together.
exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, I've never seen. I mean, actually, I think I have seen you on this channel together. So, um,
Oh, sure.
but yeah, so
Yeah.
there's lots of external factors can impact, obviously, the money totals.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the first one, um, like I said, I don't know that the first one did well enough to make me think they'd warranted more after that, but they must have had a long term kind of plan
Mhm.
at the beginning, and it did well enough. I think one did well enough for them to warrant two, and two must have done well enough money wise. Review wise, they've all been just kind of kicked, kicked to the curb, and so it's hard. Venom is one of the um, few things that I'm not precious about it, but it's like Venom to me is when Venom came along, 90s Venom, so making them kind of a silly anti-hero, and these quips and so forth, it doesn't work for me. He's just brutal and murderous and doesn't have a thought, uh, you know, to of any kind of concern for anyone. So it's like I just don't think that's going to work for me going in. So I didn't even go see it. Um, but I don't know.
Yeah, like them or not, they
It's
are making money for Sony, and I'm sure this, like I said, I'm sure this one is predicted it will still make money. And
yeah,
actually, Mark did a whole video on, as much as people lay into the Sony movies, with very few exceptions, they have all made money for Sony.
yeah. I still go
Uh,
see them.
yeah,
You know.
so
Yeah. I mean, like even like the Madam Web, which got panned right from the get go.
mhm,
That kind of found a new life on streaming
mhm,
where, even if it was a kind of, you know, like one, gawking at the car accident as you pass by, people wanted, people are like, I got to see this. Is this as bad as, everybody's
right,
made it out to be and that kind of thing. So it wound up on streaming getting decent numbers. So
mhm,
I don't know how that translates into dollars for Sony, but I'm sure it does in some way.
right.
So, uh, they're obviously making enough money to feel comfortable making more.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Speaking of Sony, let's transition to our next thing now. Although everyone knew it was coming, um, Tom Holland officially announced that Spider-Man 4 is coming. He said he did it on the Tonight Show this week with Jimmy Fallon. He announced that Spider-Man 4 is coming. It's supposed to film next summer and come out the following summer, which would interestingly place it between Avengers 4 and
Four,
Avengers 5.
five, yeah.
So many people are looking at that as though it may very well be another multiverse um,
type of thing.
story
Yeah,
with Andrew Garfield and
McGuire.
Toby Maguire again. So um,
Yeah, I did see where uh, Andrew Garfield mentioned in a interview, for this latest movie he has with Florence Pugh, and somebody asked him about it, and he
mm,
said, that he's heard nothing,
right.
but he would be happy to go back at any time
Yeah.
for anything they want. Um, so I mean, he loved that character, and he loved being able to play Spider-Man. So I think he'd go back for anything they wanted. Um,
Yeah. And Toby
so
Maguire makes like one movie every 5 years. It would be
yeah,
perfect for him.
he's like, that works.
So,
I can
yeah.
make my one movie and go back to playing poker and
Yeah,
do
I'm
my
looking
thing.
forward to it, because I do like the Spider-Man movies. And I know the last one was really kind of fan service, but I loved it. I absolutely love Spider-Man
Yeah,
3.
nothing
Um,
wrong with fan service
yeah,
if it's done well, you
yeah.
know. Um,
For me, I
so
think the for me of the Spider-Man movies, the best one for me was the original Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, Doc Ock. That to me was the best one, but
yeah,
um, that's just me. So
right on.
yeah. Let's see. What else? Did you watch Agatha this week?
I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Talk
did.
about that. They're dropping like flies on this road.
They are, and I'm telling you, man. I know it's you're kind of like you said, you're just watching it like a homework assignment, and
Hmm.
but I'm digging it. I think the previous episode before this last one, we got kind of the big reveal from spoiler from the Funko Pop
Hmm. Right.
deal. I thought that one was a little too drawn out. I felt
Hmm.
like they could have gone a more emotional exploration of Billy's reactions and feelings instead of kind of just re-explaining things several times. So I was a little disappointed, and I was like, "Uh-oh, we might be going downhill." I thought this last week's episode, um, I thought was great. I really dug it. I completely accept that it's my bias towards Patty LaPone, though. I think she's amazing at everything she does, and I thought she crushed this episode. They had her carrying a lot of the story and moving things in different directions that you kind of had to, her story and Agatha's story and how everything weaves together. So I really enjoyed this past week's episode. And then again, the big reveal that we kind of saw coming. Some of us saw coming anyway, but
Yeah. It was a
very cool.
controversial choice to replace Mork in his own show, but there was no denying the fan positive reaction to the recasting. Thanks, they are. Yeah, and so we got you mentioned, a couple episodes back, we got the first reveal from the back of the Funko Pop. This week we got the second reveal from the back of the Funko Pop. So now all has been revealed. So you're safe to go out and buy the Agatha Funko Pop if you don't
And
want to
not be,
be
that's right.
and not
You
be and not be spoiled.
yeah.
So. Yeah, it was definitely the whole tarot thing, and was I thought was kind of exciting. It was kind of cool the way, I mean, Joe Locke did his whole Maleficent. He
Yeah.
went
They all
full
got
on
their
full on
different looks,
Maleficent.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Agatha
Agatha
was
got the
the
green.
wicked witch of the West, who
Yeah.
she says, oh, by the way, she was modeled after me.
Yeah.
Um,
And then yeah, Lila, or however you say it, was Glinda, and
right.
that so they all kind of pulled that motif in, and I thought that was really well done too. I like that, and just the whole thing with, it's like they're pulling in all the different things, like with the tarot cards and the tea leaves, and like all of these kind of magic cliches or things that we've heard about in our lives, and so forth. They're pulling them in and making them, oh, actually they're real. They're a real part of magic, uh, in this world, and I thought that was kind of just really, like I said, I really enjoyed this past week's episode. I thought it's just really well done too. I'm enjoying the whole the cast. I think I was a little leery at first with the whole this is teen.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, if you're gonna have a mystery, let's be a little more original with it, or give it a little more, and everybody had their suspicions and so forth. So I felt like that was kind of a misdirect, though, to where the real story's going. And it's as much as it's like we're seeing that the title makes sense with all of these different characters. The consistent constant is Agatha in all of their lives and their stories, whether they knew it or not.
Yeah, and obviously, as each episode is going along, you're learning why all of these people had to be on the journey, on the road.
Right.
If only to heroically give their life at some point in order to make sure that they can continue down this road. Which spoiler, because this is a spoiler show. That's what happened in this episode, actually. But will the seven witches of Salem, are they now gone? Because they all she turns the tower upside down, and causes all of them to float up into the swords that have been hanging from the ceiling. So,
yeah.
So are they gone, and all that's left now is death to kind of chase them down the road?
Yeah, and we had the big, they slipped in the conversation with Billy and Agatha, and where he asked straight up, "Is Wanda Maximoff dead?"
Yeah, and she says yes.
Yes.
No. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a body. I don't know if anybody else saw a body.
Right.
And it's like, so they're going to drag this out.
Yeah.
And so but that ties in. Are the witches dead?
Yeah.
Who knows?
No. Maybe. Yeah. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. So it's very interesting. I like how they're tying all of these things together. I am concerned that we're going to get to the end and there's going to be a lot of things unanswered. Because they'll be answered somewhere else.
Right. Could be. The show has a ton of great payoffs. Need to go back and look if the teenager had a guitar in his room because he killed it off. He killed it, but I think I can take death in the drum off. Yeah, and Paul Bettany came out this week and started talking about the Vision show as well.
Yeah.
And how that's going to start filming soon for a 2026 release. And he said one of the things that he's doing is he's going back and he's watching all of the Agatha episodes again to see what he needs to pull out of them that he may need for the Vision series. So it'll be interesting to see if what we see here kind of floats forward in some part into a Vision series, especially if there is a Wanda somewhere. So. Interesting stuff. Again, I'm really not that interested in Agatha, but again, I think I said this last time although I'm not really an Agatha enthusiast, I could definitely see people enjoying this show. So
yeah, well, and for somebody like say yourself, it's not necessarily the show for you, but as someone who knows and understands and has an interest in the larger universe, at least now pieces of the puzzle are coming together that can affect that, right? Even if it's just down to as simple as where's Billy's brother,
right?
Does Billy know he has a brother? Those kind, or where he could be, and those kinds of things. And then the Vision series coming. Will any of that tie in? So there's there's at least kernels there for you to work with.
Hey, look at here.
Okay, I gotta go. We can't be here at the same time. Apparently,
it totally messes up Pops.
Don't do it.
The multiverse is there's a wrinkle. What's good, man?
And much just getting settled in the house.
Right on.
Happy anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary. I appreciate you letting me jump on, and
yeah, I appreciate you. You have any idea?
Happy anniversary to you and to Kyle, though, especially because
Kyle.
You do a lot for this. You do a lot for this community, my man. But she supports you, and she is,
I was talking to Kyle the other day, and she said that she's had like 5 great years of marriage.
5. If you add it all together,
that makes sense because you guys have had about 2, right? You've had about 2 great years of marriage, so
yeah. You add Mark and Kyle and subtract Mark and Paul, and you get
Yeah, there you go. It all
go.
works out. It all works out. But yeah, congratulations to you guys, and tell her thank you for sharing you with us. We are very grateful.
He probably appreciates it.
And you came on just in time because we're just finishing our Agatha talk.
Oh,
Yes, we can go back. We can go back if you want to.
That's fine. I can watch the replay tomorrow.
We covered Venom 3 and Agatha. So
perfect. Two things I know nothing about right now.
We saved up everything else
Did
for
it
you.
cross 100 million yet?
It's 125
internationally.
It's 175 worldwide.
Globally.
Yeah, so worldwide in the opening weekend worldwide, it blew it past its budget.
Correct.
Yeah. Direct budget, not marketing or anything.
I told people to go back and watch your videos about how, as much as you hate Sony movies, they make money.
Yeah, people like Venom. I'm definitely going to watch it, but I don't know when. Probably when it's on physical media or something.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Life's a little still hectic down here. I picked out shingles for my new roof today, though, so that's
there you go.
Sweet. I was worried you were going to say you picked up shingles. And I was like,
no,
you're too young for that, but get a vaccine.
Yeah, they're going to deliver them. I don't have to pick them up.
They're going to deliver them to you? You're never going to get them.
Never going to get them.
Nothing ever gets delivered to you.
Yeah, that's hopefully the supply warehouse is local.
They either don't get delivered to them, or they'll get delivered to them and they'll sit over in a corner for 4 months, 5 months.
I'll have you know that package that I posted about arrived unannounced. Obviously unannounced because it was already marked as delivered, but it did arrive after making that post and everything. So
nice. You call them out and they're like, "Oh, we got to get that that guy."
They're like, "Uh-oh, we should look into that."
Yeah. I was asking Pops. You can't tag the USPS online and stuff. They have accounts and stuff, but they're untaggable. But I put it as many hashtags as I could think. Put 2 or 3 hashtags in there, and I hope they have a team that checks it. And Pops was telling me about how, like, with another company that we have relatives that work for, that's a worldwide large company. He's talking about how they have social media teams. It's just their job to watch for negative stuff on there and try to circumvent it and go approach problems. Like if someone takes to the internet versus calling and contacting, like reach out to them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Figure it out before it becomes a bigger issue. But I doubt our post office has that. They don't even know where my package is half the time. Yeah. It's got my name on it. They don't know where it is. I didn't mean to mess up the flow of the show. What's
there was no flow. We are ready to move on to the Penguin, I believe.
And I've had a pretty crazy week, so I didn't get to the LCS, and I haven't caught up on all my shows. So I was just kind of nodding appropriately, to Paul, like I used to do in school or when I go to church on occasion, just that kind of thing. So you have messed up any flow. We're moving to the Penguin. I did see the Penguin though.
Did you get a chance to watch Superman?
Yes.
Okay, we're good then. The ones that matter.
Exactly.
I did want to show you this.
The ones that married.
This.
Perfect. No denying it.
The Rotten Tomatoes scores.
Going through the roof.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, so the important ones.
Exactly.
I had the show playing for the last probably 5-10 minutes coming in the house and stuff. So I heard the positive feedback from Agatha, from Brother John. It seems like the people that are watching it are very happy with it.
Yes.
Penguin?
No,
Agatha. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And despite them trying to fudge viewership numbers, but like in all sincerity, that's a whole nother rabbit hole for a whole nother day. But Disney is withholding viewership numbers and self-reporting them to try to claim success. They did it on the premiere weekend of it, and then they just did it for this week. They try to put out some kind of self-reporting report kind of thing, like, oh, despite all the odds, the show's performing better than anything we've done before, kind of thing. But I mean, seems like they wouldn't really need to do that because I think this show's it's gonna legit have legs because all the people that are watching it seem to really be impressed with it. Like the people that were gonna like it no matter what ended up loving it, kind of thing. And that's the kind of stuff that creates a real following for something, a real fandom. as that word of mouth will actually spread. It's turning out to be something that they'll hopefully recommend to other people. But
Yeah. Like I said, I've been enjoying it. And I think what I was saying to Paul earlier, I think now we've gotten far enough long into it where even people like him that are just watching for homework are going to have, there's bits and pieces that are coming in that are tying into the bigger universe that maybe you could see in later on in a different capacity that might work for you or fit for
I'm
you.
not deaf.
So Death, the twins, where are the twins? Where's the other twin? I mean, and those kinds of things. And,
Yeah, I could
those pieces.
I
Is
could
Wanda
very
still
easily
alive?
see Joe Locke, rolling into the Vision show. So
Yeah.
Do you think that y'all think that they'll revive Wanda in any capacity? Because the MCU hasn't really done that yet, like bring anyone back from the dead. And traditionally in comics, no one's ever really dead. But if they're going to play with that angle, it seems like the easiest way to introduce a general audience to that would be witchcraft. You don't. It's a built-in MacGuffin. You don't have to explain it. Like, we're going to use dark magic, bring them back, and everyone will be like, "Yeah, obviously, just use dark magic. It makes sense."
Yeah.
You
I think
think
I
they'll
don't know.
bring her
I don't
back?
think they should have ever killed her to begin with. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but
But doesn't that give you like a path to like absolve her of her sins, kind of thing? Because she did go on like a murdering spree. The Wanda that was left standing there, there's no redemption. All you can do is, the only justice that would be left for that character is a lifetime in prison or death. So she's died. So that, like, she's paid for those crimes, kind of thing. Now, if you do bring her back, she doesn't have to necessarily be a villain, right? Depending on how you play it.
yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on how. Like I said, that last Doctor Strange movie, I thought the way they built that whole thing just didn't sit well with me. The they bring in the multiverse, all of this stuff. They gaslight the crap out of her that her kids aren't real, her light, all this wasn't real. So how does she know? How does she know what's real or not? Did she kill real people? She doesn't
That's
know.
a good point. Yeah.
Like what are they gonna? So it's like, it was just weird the way it didn't sit well with me. Like I said, I thought the movie was enjoyable and fun, but like on the deeper effects of the MCU, it just, a lot of it didn't make sense. So I don't know. I'd be fine with them going the Robert Downey route, and let's see if we can figure out who could Olsen come back and play instead.
Yeah.
Just drop her in as somebody else.
I'm Black Widow now.
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different things that they could do, obviously, and maybe she'll come back and she'll say, "No more Venom," and then there'll be no more Venom anymore. So no more Moon Knight. But yeah, I mean, I think that she. I mean, the thing is, with all the multiverse, does she have to? I mean, could a different Wanda come back?
Right. It could be a completely different Wanda. I don't know who that was and what she did.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. I promise.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows?
We'll see. It'll be interesting.
So AR was talking about how the two of them kind of mirror each other, Agatha and Penguin. It's a show about a callous comic book villain dealing with a relationship with a younger person that looks up to them while they try to regain their power. Am I talking Penguin or Agatha? So,
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Penguin. How good is Penguin? Man, he's got the Maronis and the Fox. Sorry, he's got the Maronis and the Gigante family after him now.
What an episode! Like, man, the little. I mean, he can adjust and think on the fly, but I don't think it worked out in his favor much.
No, I mean, it's a 100% survival, right? He's just making. He has no plan.
He's got the concept of a plan.
Yeah, but but he really, it's complete survival instinct, and that's why, like, to AR's point, that whole relationship with the two of them, I was like, is he going to turn on this kid at some point? Because
that's what I think the ultimate thing is. Like, he's a villain. I think that's how they're going to drive it home.
He turns on these people left and right, and you're like, well, they're bad people. So I get it. But I get it. Yeah, exactly. And when that turn happens, it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is who that guy is.
I've had that in my mind for a few episodes now, and then I'm trying to like rationalize another utility for the character because the show's too smart. Like the writers are clearly too smart for him just to end the show side by side with the Penguin. That's too base level for what these writers are clearly capable of doing with the depth of character that they're showing us. So I think he's either going to be used as like a heartbreak character, like you just mentioned, with watching Penguin ultimately, take him out, showing he didn't never really care, or they're going to find another use for him. And the whole time he's just been used to show us the descent into this lifestyle, which we're seeing how Oz got there through Vic's journey as well. Just one bad day leads to the next bad decision. The next thing you know, you're in over your head. And we even had the episode where he wants to leave, but he just can't,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the truest villains only care about self-survival. They don't care
Yeah.
about anybody else. So I could picture him at one point. What he's the type of person that if he needs to, he's gonna throw his mother at someone before so he doesn't get shot.
And that's funny because there's no way his mom makes it out of this series alive. No way.
No way. From her first appearance, I thought, oh no.
Yeah. Is someone else going to do it and then to be a victim of his rage, or is it just going to be himself? But did you read the Tom King Penguin series that just wrapped up? It was a 12-issue series.
I did not.
That's all I can think about. What happened to the motherly protector in that? Like, spent her whole life taking care of him. Just when it was convenient for him, he just nudges her off a roof just to use her in a conversation against Batman.
Right. Which, while I'm thinking of it, if you're at your local comic shop this week, there is a Penguin special that comes out this week. And although it has reprints, it has a Howard Porter and Jeremy Adams new story in it. So take a look.
Right on. I'm going to say real quick because since I took the week off last week, and I appreciate you filling in for me, Mark.
Yeah.
I just got to recap that.
Yeah.
That last week's episode with Christy Milotti, or however you say her name. Holy cow. That was amazing. They should throw every award in a truck that is available and just back it up at her house, because she was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was next level.
We can keep back to the current episode.
Too, watching the difference in the like how it started versus how it's going with her, because she had that innocent twinkle in her eye, and she's naive to like the level of villainy that the family she's involved is, and didn't believe the reporter, and she was in sheer disbelief that they would throw her out like that. And then by the end of it, you're like she looks hollow, she looks soulless in her eyes by the end of it, and without changing the facial expression at all, she changes her facial expression completely, and it's all in the eyes. She has like that Christopher Reeve effect, like just in the way that she carries herself. She's not having to say anything. It's just that presence that she has on screen. It was like two different roles. And
it's such a kind of a mirror of Oz in that she's just it's survival, right? Everything that happened to her, everything she goes through, we saw in the backstory, and as now keep going on, she's just making decisions based on her own survival. She's already, she's reached that point where the family, I can't trust the family. I can't trust these other people. I can't, and we saw a little hint. Does she trust Oz kind of coming back together with him? But no, it's self-survival. And they're both in that same mode. It's just, I've got to look out for me because nobody else is and cares.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. The kind of the parallel path of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Penguin right now is kind of in the mode where, okay, who do I align myself with that maybe I'll make it to tomorrow?
Yeah,
he's running out of people.
Yeah,
He went all the way down the totem pole to just his runners. Now he's like, when I eat, y'all eat. So basically, don't let me die.
Yeah. Until all of his mushrooms got burned, except for two buckets.
Well, you couldn't transport him like that. They ruined him in transport, which was wild. And what happened, like that play that he made against the Maronis, kidnapping the son and using him as a bargaining chip to get the mushrooms. And then, that was cold. As soon as he stepped out of the car, covered in P. Diddy after party juice, I'm like, oh, this dude's about to die. And that was savage. Just lit them both on fire.
Yeah, and you also, and then the other thing was Sophia. You almost feel as though she saved that one person just so that she could blow him away in that first meeting and show that she's the one who's running everything now.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only reason why she saved him from not dying from all the gas.
Right.
Was to blow him away.
It's just an example to have as an example.
Y'all saw that coming too, right?
Oh,
She wanted him there. I'm like, oh, this guy is going to get the worst of it. She hated Johnny.
Exactly. It's like,
so we've had 2 really strong Sophia episodes back to back. I like that they're getting Clancy Brown more into the show now that he's out of jail. That was kind of where the plot went wrong for Oz. Had that phone call and didn't expect him to be alive. I like how he went from being scared to just, he pulled his bootstraps up and said, "Hey, have you tried calling your wife?" and just hangs up on him.
Yeah.
He's really putting the cart before the horse right now, but it's got me excited. And that's how TV's supposed to work. I don't see an out for these writers are smarter than me, and I can feel that when I watch it.
Yeah. And it's just, and the writers are so good and the performances are so good. I thought it was interesting. I read an article that one of the actors was talking about, for the table reads. I don't know if you saw this. Colin Farrell would come up and would show up in a ski mask because he didn't want anybody to see him, even at a table read. He wanted, and then when they got on set to film, he would be in full makeup. They wouldn't ever see him without being Oz. And I just thought
about that little Christina clip that went out. It was like a little featurette that went out last week where she said she spent 90 hours filming with Colin Farrell, and only 3 of those hours did she ever see Colin combined. Yep. She said when she hears his name, she can't even picture Colin Farrell without having to try to think about it. All she sees is Oz.
Yeah, that's just that kind of those dedication and those kinds of tricks are brilliant.
Yeah, so they're overpaid.
And if I've said this multiple times, but if you didn't know that was Colin Farrell, you would not be able to pick out who it was that was playing Oz.
Yeah, you remember Paul, because we were right here live for Fandom when they first showed that first trailer years ago. Yeah. I'm like, half of us didn't even know that Colin Farrell was in the movie. No one thought. I wonder who's playing Penguin. I mean, plenty of people knew and stuff, but the general public doesn't follow along like a lot of us do. This is. But there was people realizing that, having that light bulb come on was a whole moment for everybody. Even if you knew he was playing the Penguin, singing that's not him.
Right.
That's
right.
The whole "take it easy, sweetheart." I'm like, that was the moment. That's not Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
It's like, which Colin is that? Colin Firth? No, Colin Farrell.
Firth. It's got to be Firth. He let himself go.
Got rid of the British accent.
Yeah.
Superman and Lois.
Oh man! Holy cow!
Every week.
Shows every week. Show is so good.
This was the most mellow episode we've gotten.
It was actually,
yeah.
Just for a brief recap, this is just the homecoming. It's the homecoming that Superman woke up and shows up at home, and there's really just dealing with the home itself. The kids' dynamic, still arguing, Jordan blaming himself that they even got in this situation, and we finally get to see Kyle, who we don't really see much of since the last season, and they're working on the wedding for Kyle, and I'm telling you, it's going to be Lex's daughter. I'm calling it.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. That's
Just
right.
Like Kyle.
Thank you.
That's the one that counts, man. That's the one that counts.
I got her flowers.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, beautiful. Lego flowers.
Lego
That's
flowers.
awesome.
There you go.
All right. You have to go help her put those together.
Oh no.
He cannot. This is me.
No.
All me.
She's saying that like there's a chance I was going to. If there was me having to build them involved, I wouldn't have bought them for her.
Yeah, you'd slow her down.
When Finn gets Legos, he's like, "Mommy, will you help me?" I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, I'll help you." So I go through the first page with him, and then I'm just like,
Then
"All
he's
right, mine.
Yeah.
These are mine."
She builds new plays with them.
It's funny you can see with Superman and Lois, you can see how they cut back on all the other actors because 1 week we get Sam Lane, another week we get Lana Lang, another week we get
Yeah.
Kyle,
They had the
They had
budget
one
cut,
episode
right?
with Steel too.
yeah, exactly. One episode was sale, so it was like whereas last season they would have all been in the same episode and everything, and now we're just getting them
Yeah.
kind of spaced out. But yeah, it was just the to me the line of the week that totally got me is when Lois is out there talking to Jonathan, and he says, why are you, they're talking about why he's so mad, and why did he get so mad, and she's like, I wasn't mad that you picked why can't I think of his name now? Jordan. Because wasn't mad that he goes. I'm upset because I'm upset because I think you picked because I think you picked the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
When she was talking to
Yeah.
Jordan,
Yeah.
I'm mad you
Yeah,
picked
she's talking
John.
to Jordan. Yeah.
Right.
He said
Sorry, yeah,
everything's
Jordan,
so easy
Right.
with y'all, and everything for
Right.
me is just so hard.
Right.
And now the line that got me was right after that when she goes, "I want to be able to make it right. I want to help you,
Right.
but you have to let me." And I'm like,
Yes.
then he just
and-
breaks. I'm like, oh.
And that is like foundation. That has zero to do with Superman or the DC universe or whatever. That is just a parent and a child.
Yep.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what
what
I
I'm
was
saying?
about to
That-
say in
it
terms of
was
like
just
the spread out cast that played to the strength of this season so far, because what we're getting is more time in the conversations. And
Right.
I watched this show and we've talked about it, how like the family dynamic of this show is what makes it unique compared to other superhero shows. Superman is supposed to be that high moral watermark that we can all strive for, kind of thing. And I caught it 3 different times in this episode when 2 characters were sitting down next to each other in kind of a moment, and one of them goes, "Do you want to talk about it?" Like not
Yeah.
pushy, not anything, just offering their ear. And I'm like, damn. And I swear to God, I thought I need to be like that probably more. I need to notice myself being like that more in my life, probably, and that's what the show's supposed to do. That's what the character is supposed to do when you read him on the
Yeah.
pages of a comic or see him on the silver screen or watch him at home. Like you're supposed to think, damn, I need to do better at that.
Yeah.
It was
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, I think from season 1 on, this show has been fantastic.
Mhm.
I think it's interesting how this last season they had their budget cut and their number of episodes cut, and they have still said we're going to bring it. I mean, they have said they've like almost taken and twisted that to their advantage.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, so we don't have to fill as much. We can give you, we can give you solid episodes every episode. Yeah, Superman just died, and guess what? Episode later, he's back.
Right.
That kind of thing. That
Agreed.
part, and yeah, if they had the extended number of episodes like they had before, they would have had to find ways to drag that out.
Yeah, you've been dead a
go
lot more.
between that.
But even what they've done, even though they've cut back on the money for the show, like I mean, the battles that they've had with Doomsday have been incredible. The flying through the
Flying with Jonathan through
with
the
the
ice
gre-
is crazy. Pull up,
yeah,
pull up.
exactly, yeah.
Boom.
Through the glaciers or whatever you want to go, like around the Fortress Hall. Just they have definitely used every dollar to get everything
Yeah.
they can on the screen. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I think that's part of where we've also seen the cast kind of cutbacks,
Right.
which they've used to their advantage, but not to the advantage of the cast. I'm sure some of those actors are like, well, crap, I could go for a few more episodes.
Paul and I predicted that General Lane wasn't going to survive. Like I halfway assumed that he was going to be killed off camera from the finale to the start of this one because he got abducted by Luthor, but he didn't, which I'm glad he didn't. He went out like a champ and caused me to tear up a little bit. But yeah, I wonder how many other ones aren't going to make it out of here because we got that scare with Lois. Did y'all notice that this episode we saw her in the hospital for a scene, then we saw her looking in the mirror,
Yeah.
looking at her chest, and it looked like it was red. Like, was that supposed to?
Yeah, I don't know. Have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's another thing. That has, as much as it really has nothing to do with Superman, it does play into his feeling inadequate about the fact that he can't cure everything.
Right.
You
You can't save.
He can't battle everything.
Yeah.
So
And now even less potentially because we got
Right.
revealed he's back and he's back with an ulterior heart that he got from General Lane.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing that he has limits to how long he can do stuff. He was training Jonathan and just fell out while
Right.
flying.
So I think they had said that this season was supposed to end in a way that nothing something's going to happen with this Superman at the end that has never been done before in live action.
I believe it. They've already done that every season.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's, I mean, I don't know if I want to speculate, but
Speculate. Do it.
I think it's going to be whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
You think so?
Yeah. He's got a human heart. I mean,
he's gonna retire.
Yeah. And Jordan and Jonathan are going to take over.
Yeah. He's going to retire. He's going to fly into the sun. And then in DC 1 million,
There you go.
we'll see him come out of the sun.
Superman Prime. Golden.
Yeah.
I can see
I
that.
know.
Like, for those that don't, if you're watching, you don't know, and whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, it's almost like a swan song. It was the end of volume 1 of Superman back in the 80s. Alan Moore wrote a 2-part story that ended with the assumed death of Superman, but at the end you get this nice little Easter egg and find out the reporter that's asking questions that unfolds the story to the readers is talking to a person who's obviously Clark Kent with like a mustache and beard kind of thing, that he's still out there, he's alive, but Superman is no more.
Right on. Yeah, I don't know. I dig this show so much. I just think, and I think that what I dig about it is the name's absolutely perfect. Superman and Lois. You are seeing through these two boys and through their community and through their relationship that they are equal parts. One of them has amazing superpowers of a god, but they are equal parts to building the future. And these kids are equal part influenced by the both of them. And it's a complete family show, and it's fantastic to watch.
So what's the catch with Kyle's fiance? Is that Luthor's daughter he's looking for?
I think so.
That's my guess. Especially thinking so after the introduction of the mom and stuff. And
because they've cast her, so we know she's coming. Right. So yeah, I think so.
Do they run trailers for the next episode?
They do. Like they very quickly. It's like less than 30 seconds. They just show some quick highlights from the next episode.
We didn't get Luthor in this one. We didn't get Doomsday in this one.
Right.
And didn't even see what happened to the Miss Tessmacher character. We saw that they were trying to take her out. Jonathan went in to make the save and had to get some backup from Superman with that amazing landing and just that chill walking through the flames and stuff, and just doesn't even touch the guy. Just walks up to him, and when his chest gets to those weapons, they recoil. But we didn't see what happened to her after that. So there's a lot of questions I want answered.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a tight wrap up with the, like I said, what are they, just 10 episodes this season?
Like 10 or 11, yeah.
10 or 11. So they're going to have, like I said, same with like the Agatha series. I'm worried that there's going to be some things that we just don't get answers to, like the Tessmacher thing, or we just might, it's like be a quick hit. Oh, she's dead or whatever.
Yeah.
So that is a worry, but I don't know. I think they're hitting all the important stuff and making sure it works. So
yeah, the only other option I was thinking for the long haul for Clark is there's only one other super heart in this show that's available, and that's inside Bizarro.
Is that well? Yeah, full. You mean full on?
One that can work inside him, because obviously Jordan and Jonathan aren't an option.
Yeah.
Well, they're not even an option. Unless one of them dies, unfortunately. But even then, we'd be like, all right, well, he's dead. I'll take his heart.
Give me that.
Weird. I'm excited for the super fight. That fight's going to be insane. They're going to have to throw everything in the kitchen.
All three of them are going to have to go against them.
All
five of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get Nat and Steel in there also. That's going to be insane.
Bizarro's heart would come out like this block, like a little square thing. Like,
Now I want them to pull something like I want them to pull like an ace up their sleeve that they're hiding somewhere, but it could almost throw it off. But just to pull in other characters possibly. But the thing is, on this world there are no other characters.
Right.
General Lane made the comment how he's been to other worlds where there's many heroes, but on this Earth it's just Superman. But I mean, I think that could almost diminish the show if you try to pull some little in-game-esque stuff and bring in previous CW characters or something.
yeah, I would agree. I think the show has shown that it stands on its own. It's separate. It's unique. I don't think they need to do that either. I would agree.
Yeah, I just can't even imagine how epic this is going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm very excited though.
Yeah.
To enjoy Detroit.
I see AR out there. Just Lower Decks came back this week. 2 episodes. So good. If you're not watching Star Trek Lower Decks and you wanna if you're a Star Trek fan and you wanna laugh.
What is that on?
It's on Paramount Plus.
Oh, that's why I'm not watching it.
Okay.
It's like the one service I don't have.
That's how I felt for a while with Paramount, and then I got it. And I'm like, yo, I spend so much time on that one now.
We got him hooked on Discovery.
Yeah, well, I watched the finale to Discovery, and I've watched probably about 5 episodes of the
Strange New
other
World.
one. Yeah, the one with Pike.
Yeah.
I got to get back into checking that out.
But he likes it too because it has Top Gun, it has all the Mission Impossible movies, it's got all that good stuff. So
right on. Yeah, I can't. I don't know where I'd fit more in. You know,
It also
like I
has
said,
all the hidden
I fell
colors
down that.
stuff.
I fell down that
it has what?
silo rabbit hole and knocked through that thing, and it's like, wow.
It has all the Penn and Teller stuff,
Yeah,
like all their old stuff. It doesn't have Fool Us, but it has their old Showtime show bullshit, which ran for a bunch of seasons. And it's fun going back and re-watching that every few years because some of it doesn't hold up, and some of it you're like, yo, how'd they get away with this?
Yeah. Anything that used to be on Showtime is on Paramount Plus. So
Yeah, it's really good. Silo, this is your first watch through then, John.
Yeah,
You made it all. You got all the way through now.
all the way through.
he stayed up all night one night and watched the entire thing. He said
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I went to watch one episode because it didn't. That first episode is such a hook. You're like, what?
Yeah,
You
I know,
gotta
and
know.
it's like I said when it was mentioned, I was like, I hadn't even heard of this, and then when I looked at it and watched that first episode, and then I saw the credits, I was like, Graham Yost is the showrunner. I was like, this is post-apocalyptic Justified. Of course, I'm hooked in. The dialogue's different, but the way it's building these layers of characters, and it just, I was like, I'm in. I am in. And I'm like, I'm not reading any. I'm not reading any spoilers on the book. I just want to know want to see what happens.
I had no clue that it was the same showrunner from Justified, but I'm a big Raylan Gibbons fan as well.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm also a huge Rebecca Ferguson fan.
Right. I mean, she's a strong character. Like she does
everything she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started watching it too, and I'm like, oh, I also like Rashada Jones, but she was only in the first episode.
One episode.
Right. Robbins though does fantastic, and what a nice little turn at the end. The whole show is just that's one thing. I know a lot of people don't have Apple TV, and I didn't get it till the Monsterverse show came. Once it was on there, I'm like, well, what else is here? I'm going to watch, and I binged Ted Lasso. I'm like, I'll check it out because I've heard great things. And that's holds a special place in my heart now. It was so good. And then Silo, and then Kyle watched a bunch of stuff on there, and I realized that it doesn't have a huge catalog, but 100% of the stuff on Apple TV that's an Apple TV original, it's of the highest quality standard for its genre.
Foundation?
Yeah, I haven't gone and watched it yet.
Oh, it's good.
And is that new one that's on there? Is the I don't know. It's got Kevin Kline, which I was like, "Where's he been?"
Dave? Talking about Dave?
Yeah, it's the new one that's
last
on
time
there.
I saw him, he was in a Western with Will Smith.
with
Fighting a giant spider.
yeah. How was that not a bigger hit?
I don't know. I love that movie.
I do too. It's fun.
It's got the spider that was supposed to fight Superman.
Superman. That's right.
Yeah. What was it? A Thanagarian snare
Disclaimer.
spider?
Yeah.
The disclaimer with Kate Blanchett and Kevin Kline is the new one that's on there, and it looks interesting. You know, it's like, when would I add time to watch that? But it looks interesting. But like you're right. Everything they do on there, Shrinking is that's started season 2, and that's like, I got to see that every week. That's
Kyle watched that one and liked it.
yeah. So
it's, what's his name there? In Shrinking.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah,
Jason
the other guy.
Harrison Ford's
Han
in it.
Solo,
Jason Segel.
Harrison Ford. He says that it's like the most favorite thing he's ever done. He said.
Yeah, he said it's an absolute blast. he said that when he was in London filming the last Star Wars movie, they sent him the script for Shrinking, and he was like, his agent was like, "It's TV. I don't think you need, you know." And he said, "It's the best thing I've read. I want to do it." And so they sent Brent Goldstein, who is Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. They sent him to meet with him, and he said, "I went to his house, and he was like, 'This is the best script I've ever read.'" And he was like, "Shrinking, like you know I'm with the Shrinking people." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about." He said, "You've got like 7 scripts laying there on your table, and you're talking about this one," because he's one of the writers. But he's apparently
cool. What a humbling experience that had to be.
Yeah. He said, "I still, you know, work with him on this show, and he's like, it's the one person," he said, "I've been very blessed to meet a lot of famous people and work with some really cool people and so forth." He said, "But he's the one person that, like, I get a text and I'm like, holy crap, Harrison Ford just texted me." He said, "It's been 3 years and I'm still like, oh my gosh, Harrison." That's pretty cool.
And what's that actor's name?
What's on, everyone?
Brett Goldstein.
Brett Goldstein. Okay.
Yeah.
I just know him as Roy Kent.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the writers and creators of Shrinking, and he's gonna roll this year. I don't want to spoil it, but he's coming.
On the show?
Yeah, on the show he's gonna be. So it's pretty pivotal.
They decided they're doing. Originally, this was supposed to be over, right? But they've decided they're doing another season of it, right?
This is the second season that they're doing. Yeah.
No, sorry, I meant Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah, that's back and forth.
It's being teased. Nothing official has been announced. But
they've teased a spinoff. They've teased a return type of thing. I think Sudeikis is done. So if it comes back, it's going to be something different than Ted Lasso.
That's a flawless show as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, you know, that hit like that every once in a while. But you know, I still think like Friday Night Lights, the first episode of that show is perfect. It's like the perfect pilot. It went off the rails further down the road in some ways, but it's still consistently good. But as a first pilot episode for a show, that first episode is just nails every beat you could want to pull you along to want to see if you see more.
That's how I felt about Silo. Doesn't happen often, but when you get that one episode, you're like, I'm not gonna turn this off until every question I have right now is answered. I can't not watch it till I get answers.
Yeah, and then you get all the way to the end, and it's like,
and you feel the exact same way. There's no more
more questions. I need more answers, please.
Great, new questions.
It was just like, that's what a perfect way to build a show. You know, it's dangerous because sometimes you have shows that do like that, and then the network's like, nah, we're not gonna renew, and you're just left with questions.
Called it. We talked about it with Chaos on Netflix. Watched that. I was really impressed with it. I thought it was fantastic. It was unique. They had their own little twist and style, not just for like Greek mythology, but for a television show. You know, it wasn't a lot of stuff out there that felt like that. And I watched the finale, and it was good, fine. But the choice they made writing wise to end it the way that they did, I was like, you can't do that with a show, not on this platform, because more often than not, Netflix runs a season of something and it is like they have a different standard of success as a streaming platform. And I don't know if their standards are that good or not, because I don't think they've been profitable in a long time now. They're kind of just make enough to keep stuff going. But you're not promised a second season, and you don't get a second season for most things on Netflix.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they canceled Chaos.
I must sell it for myself by reading the book. Great story, but I answered all the questions.
I'll have none of that. I'm gonna play out the show for as long as it gives us, and I'll be happy to know that if it gets cut short for any reason, viewership, budget, whatever, you can always go to the books and get your answers. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to see it first. That's what I did with Hellboy the Crooked Man. I talked to somebody who had saw an early screening of it who liked it, and I asked, should I read the book first? He's like, no, see the movie first. 9 times out of 10, the book is going to be more, like goes deeper, more details, more stories, so you can really ruin a movie reading the book for it first, or expand the movie reading it second. What's up, Tian?
Hey Mark. Hey Paul.
Howdy.
Speaking of books, want to get some books?
Yeah, there's a few that I think are worth bringing up.
Where would you like to start?
The Elephant in the Room.
Yeah?
Yeah, with Godzilla, Monster Piece Theater. Let me tell you something. This is something random that came out. And on the cover, you have the machinist from H.G. Wells, the Time Machine. You got the Great Gatsby. You have Sherlock Holmes, and you have question mark character with a slick back, pointy hair, a cape, and a big D on his cape. You can probably guess who that is. This was the most creative comic I've read in years. It was fun. It was dynamic. Like, imagine that if the comic adaptation of The Great Gatsby, and it plays out that way for the first little bit. Now, imagine you get to Jay Gatsby's party, and look at the art style in here too. It's very, very of the times. It's on point. This guy's name is Tom Scioli. But imagine like the party's going, Jay's out there looking across the bay, and then it's interrupted by Godzilla. Now Jay, with all of his infinite resources and capabilities, is setting out to be the one that stops Godzilla because he assumes that Daisy is dead. But when I tell you the art in here, and we get a good splash page, like it's so stylized perfectly. And the characters that are on the cover are not anywhere near all of the literary giants that are in this book. And it's cool how they're all rolled in and introduced like that too. But you get a lot of people. And it's cool because Gatsby is the one that ends up putting together the G-Force. Sherlock Holmes gets introduced inspecting where the big disturbance from the Americas made its way. And then, Jay goes over there to hire him to help try to solve it. Look at this. Need I say more?
Oh, wow.
Right on.
Jules Verne, Cyborg. But this was so awesome.
That's wild. And that's that guy is the biography guy, that's Tom Scioli. So he did like the I Am Stan biography and the Jack Kirby biography, that graphic biography as they call it. So
biographies, I have the Stan Lee one.
He's a historian / artist, so that
makes
fits.
Sense. Yeah,
that's very cool.
But it was phenomenal. I got the ratio variant as well. This is going in the Legion Loot this month, and that's a cool cover too. But I had no clue what the inside looked like, and I saw this. I had the A cover, and I'm like, oh, a ratio. Let me grab one of those. So that'll end up in the Legion Loot this month. So somebody else will get to revel in that awesomeness.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that was the elephant in the room, Paul.
Okay. Okay, watching this. It's awesome. That comic has been a member for 19 months.
Appreciate you, Tony.
Absolutely. Don't forget, there's a little button down there that says you can join, become a member, get entered into the aforementioned Legion Loot. So
it'll be cool.
You get access to member streams as well. Members only, you get videos early.
Yeah,
get all those
streams,
things.
That's new, but that's a thing. All right. You want to dive right into some Wonder Woman?
Sure.
Brother John, I know you said you didn't get a chance to get by the LCS. Are you going to be checking out the Wonder Woman, the absolute stuff?
Oh, for sure, 100%. Yeah, but that's I mean, you can spoil it away.
We'll definitely do a little spoiling. I was just going to
Okay.
say I didn't know if you planned on going all in on this absolute stuff or not, but Wonder Woman does not disappoint. Batman set a very high bar with Scott Snyder's Batman, and Kelly Thompson. She met the standard. She rose to the occasion. She understood the assignment, and she delivered a book where, like you mentioned with that pilot, it checks all the boxes. It hits all the beats where it has you curious. You want answers. You get a little little emotional beats, but then you get like the hell yeah moment as well that you expect with a warrior typically from Themyscira, but in this case not. For those that don't, I'm assuming most people read it, but this Wonder Woman backstory is Circe, the witch, is already in hell when Apollo appears to her with an infant from Themyscira, stating that the gods and the Amazons didn't get along, and the gods went to war with them basically, and took this baby and like shut all the Amazons down, and tasked Circe with raising it in hell, and cursed Circe to not even be able to say the word Amazons.
He's so pissed he makes sure he can't even say the name.
Yeah. And then it was cool in hell. You see her get raised up in hell, and how they're like her essence is no different. This is the same Wonder Woman to the core that there always is. And it's funny how even hell was bending to her essence in ways, like the creatures and the critters and the stuff like that. And she even has a baby skeleton Pegasus that she pretty much raises and stuff. But cut to like regular Earth, there's like an invasion of demons, and she pops up and fights them off and everything. And she's fighting these characters called the Harbinger, which is basically like the herald of something bigger and badder coming. And it's not an easy fight. It's going back and forth. She's taking some hits, and Harbinger says like, you need to stay down unless you just insist on me killing you. And she just stands up, looks at him, says, I insist, and dives right back into the fight, like to be continued. I'm like,
yeah, with their big speech at the very end saying, I am Diana, daughter of Circe, from Themyscira, last of the Amazons, and everything, and I will not yield. Basically, is basically what she says, and that's where we end the issue. So, yeah, definitely setting up big things to come. But yeah, the absolute universe so far is 2 for 2 as far as I'm concerned. It is just my camera shut out again. I can't believe my camera keeps cutting out on me.
I already explained it to you, man.
I know exactly.
I'm happy to hear that, because the hype around it hasn't been to the level that the absolute Batman kind of got. And so I wanted, I'm glad
not
to
for lack
hear
of Mark trying.
Yeah.
what? What I missed?
He said the hype around Absolute Wonder Woman hasn't been the same as Absolute Batman, and I said not for lack of Mark trying.
You can blame that on the hurricane. I have the schedule set just to do the same thing, hyping Wonder Woman, and just
No, I think it's just. I mean, I just think the absolute Batman had the fortune to be the first out the gate.
and to be Batman as well.
And to be Batman, right? Absolutely. Let's see what I did there. But I'm excited to check out the Wonder Woman, and the more of these they announce, it's like, you're just seeing the bricks getting laid. If if they can all work at that same intensity and that same level, is going to be interesting to see. So yeah, I'm going to have to go all in, as he says.
Yeah, and not this week, but a week from Wednesday, we'll get Absolute Superman then, and then we'll take a couple-month break. But then we've already seen some panels from Absolute Flash. We've seen some design sheets from Absolute Martian Manhunter that just looks crazy. So we're looking forward to that as well. But we also will be doing, besides this coming week, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but we have a DC Deep Dive coming up on just Absolute Batman and Wonder Woman, and then we'll have one just on Absolute Superman. So those are coming up as well. So I'll look forward to those. But yeah, it is just, so far it is, Wonder Woman has gone to a second print though, so people are turning out. for Absolute Wonder Woman. I mean, obviously, one of the things that happens is, you get all the retailer incentives and everything, and those kind of jack up the totals of how many are printed and everything. So, but one of the reasons why you're getting so many retailers too is because we had mentioned this is normally you have to print 3,000 if you want to do a retailer incentive. But DC lowered the threshold. They're letting a lot of people to only print 1,000 to get a retailer incentive. So that's why we have so many retailers jumping on. But yeah, we're already up to what is it, like a fourth print now in Batman? At least three. I know at least three that I know of. Maybe even four now, right? Is it four for Batman or still on
I don't
three?
know if they've announced the fourth print, but I know that they were up to the third print.
Yeah, and well, to Travis's point, Superman will go to a second print, and it'll be announced probably either the day it comes out or even maybe a little bit before it comes out.
Yeah, well, as far as Batman, it sold out like over 7 days before this shelf date.
Yeah, before, and I think they're going to do the same thing. They'll run. Superman will definitely run into the same thing. They'll just know by order numbers that they're going to have to do a second print.
And I'm wondering also if, like, God, I mean, it's too close to be able to do that. If they can just kind of, from the distributor level here, could project by the sales of Batman, if they could have increased their printings of Wonder Woman or Superman, but they're super close together. I seriously doubt it, because they're only 2 weeks apart each, which means they'll probably all print back to back at the same time. So whatever the print count was is just a hard stop print count. But I think what was Batman, like 250,000 around there from DC,
something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that counts retailer incentives, but retailers are still going back doing incentives on third print for Batman. Even Eastside Comics is doing the black and white version of the Akira Batman.
The Akira one, yeah. That's like you said, that's a third print for that. So
yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited. Wonder Woman was great, though. I highly recommend. If you're going to get into the absolute stuff with DC, go all in. Look, because we've gotten a good bit of the Superman pages. We got to look at Krypton already. We got to look at no dialogue, but a little fight. And that Rafa Sandoval art is insane. Mm-hmm. It is gorgeous.
Yeah. I managed to get the Ashcan this week.
Hey, hell yeah. Yeah, I was noticing I'm starting to see a few retailer covers come up. Of course, you have the Dan Panosian one completing the connecting cover set. Those ones that have like the orange background with the lightning.
Yeah, the Midtown ones.
Yeah, Midtown, yeah. And then I saw John Boy Myers has a cool cover, and it looks like it's a Kingdom Come homage. Mm-hmm. Like the reveal of Superman in Kingdom Come was on the bridge with all the idiots fighting, and he's floating there in the air, holding the scumbags in his hands, just floating in the air with his, cape blowing, and they're just knocked out in his hands. John Boy Myers did that cover on a cover, but with Absolute Superman. I'm like, I know that image. I know that one. But it looks cool.
So speaking of all in, since you mentioned it,
got a lot of all in this week.
Got a lot of all in this week. Yeah, absolutely.
Right there. Got it in the mail.
Did you read it?
From my buddy. Heck yeah, I read it.
Oh,
you like
front to back or back to front or however you want to go.
Both ways.
I read it. Yes, sir.
What'd you think?
Oh man, that's like I said. I don't know how you read that book and not come out wanting to pick up all of these Absolute books just to know where that's going. Mm-hmm. And then it also builds enough that you're like, well, crap, now I'm going to have to buy all the other side, like all the regular all-in books too, because I for sure want to see where the Justice League is going. I want to see where, Green Arrow, I want to see what's going to happen there with it's just all of it. It's like, well, dang. So I think what I came out of that with is it's like I got to get my budget together.
There was a couple people I thought about when I finished that specifically too. I'm like, God, I hope they read this. You being one of them, because the end of the book, which is the centerfold, because you read the front half, flip it, and the big reveal is the Absolute Legion.
Yeah, and I came through there and was like, I got to that point and I was like, why can't they just give me a Legion book? Why can't they just give me a solid Legion book? Why they got to do this? And then I read I went the other way and read the Absolute side and went through and got to it. And I was like, all right, I'm in. I got to see where this happens. I got to see what they're going to do to my Legion
My playlist is out of
or
control
Dark
right
Side's
now.
Legion.
I've added numerous DC books because we've added this whole Absolute line. I'm getting all the Miller World stuff, Energon stuff. It's just it's excessive every week at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Dark Side's trajectory in that book was amazing.
It is getting a lot, but it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, until you need money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, these people that say that there's nothing good coming out or that
They're
the industry's dying or whatever,
Crazy.
I'm like, you're obviously not looking at DC because something, like I said, they looked at all of that and said, all right, well, we're just going to make more. We're going to make more amazing stuff. And if you miss it, it's on you.
Remember that conversation a few nights back in that late night stream where we started talking about the industry dying, that Niobe stream. And I kind of mentioned, like, I don't know if it is, if you just look at the sheer number of titles that come out and then you like subtract that number down to how many used to come out, you know, like comic sales, like, oh, this book only sold this many when it used to sell this many. Well, there's 1,000 more books per month that come out. So people's interest can spread out. But I think comics are in a good place right now.
So yeah, the Absolute series is coming out every month. What I meant by, maybe I was confusing, was they're doing Batman, Wonder Woman, then Superman, and there's coming out every month. But they're pausing a couple months before a new one comes out. Then they have in the wings they have Flash. And Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern.
Yeah, they're not pausing or waiting. It's just the second wave, the second wave of characters introduced won't be till next year. They're just going to just be the Trinity for a while, and then they'll introduce Green Lantern and Flash, Manhunter, and I don't think they've announced anyone else outside of those yet.
No, but they did say there were going to be 7 titles, and they've only so far 6. So
who would the 7th be?
I don't know.
Ooh, I wonder why they're holding it back. What if it's going to be a Legion book?
I was going to say, or could it be could it be an Absolute Legion book? Or could they eventually get to an Absolute Justice League?
Well, Scott Snyder's on record saying that these characters are not even going to cross paths for at least a year. Like the first character won't even be seen on panel with the second character for at least a year, if they even do it that soon. He wants these books to stand on their own merits and roll for a while. They all have their own story to tell, which I think that's a good thing. If the longer you can run them separate, probably the better. Probably the better, because they flush them out. I hope that they really have enough pre-planning and thought that they can do that. You know, if they're confident to run these as solo titles for that long, that means they put a lot of effort into crafting these characters.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, when was Death Metal? 4 years ago?
It ended in January of 2019.
5 years ago. So, you know, Scott Snyder has had 5 years to think about these. You know.
Yeah, he introduced the Elseworld, the Alpha World, Absolute World in Death Metal number 7.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then we don't see it again till now. Like, that's amazing. That's crafty right there. And someone pointed out, like, I don't think they put that much thought into it, because I did a post about it trying to just do a simple explanation. I'm like, they actually did. And Scott Snyder's done work like this before. If y'all remember, he did Batman The Last Night on Earth, which was a 3-issue Black Label series. You know, Snyder and Capullo didn't necessarily ride out their Batman run all the way to the end, but they came back later and did that Last Night on Earth as kind of a bookend and just picked up on their own story kind of thing. So that's all Snyder did, is he just picked up on his own story and just went with it. And this universe is pretty freaking metal. This Absolute universe is definitely pretty metal.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Do you see those guys were in the news?
Which ones?
Or Capullo was, at least. I actually saw the social media meltdown or things that went on.
I can't even imagine.
He posted that he made a post about the colorist on their Wolverine book they're doing. Snyder, that FCO I don't know how you say the guy's name, but he was the colorist on Death Metal that worked on all their stuff and so forth, that he resigned basically from the book. He said the pace of it was, like the deadlines, stuff was getting to him late and so forth, and he couldn't work at that pace. He was just going to step back and so forth. And Capullo kind of went on social media and put him on blast as kind of like, he quit on us. And it's like, and then he had this next one about, look, if you're not prepared to work 12 to 16 hours a day and so forth, you're not going to make it in this industry. So everybody had to chime in. So that was a lot of fun.
That's kind of funny. The dude's already clearly made it in the industry.
Right.
Like without.
Yeah. Well, that's what he was talking about. He's like, I've been, that's how I've got there. I've sacrificed friends. I've sacrificed relationships in 12 to 16-hour days. If you want to make it in comics, that's what you got to do. And, there were a lot of people that were like, no, you don't have to do that, or you shouldn't have to do that. And then there were a lot of people like, yep, that's the way it is.
I can understand
having
days or long nights here and there. Like that's just life. But just for that to be your standard regular work, that can't be okay.
But if you do the level of detail he does, because he's pretty detailed. He's pretty amazing. I will give him that. So
yeah, Cliff just dropped the quote. I can't stress this enough to would-be comic creators: unless you're willing to forego friends and hobbies and accept sometimes strenuous deadline pressure, this biz ain't for you. I've been known to work 12 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for weeks on end. It's not easy. At times, it's unhealthy. Choose wisely. That's fair. That's fair. Like here and there, been known to at times. So I mean,
yeah.
But again, that can't be the standard.
Right. Exactly. But you also, you hear the same thing for people that are on Wall Street. You got to work.
But they have cocaine, Paul.
That's true. You got to work 16-hour days. There's lots of places that they say you have to do that, and it's once you make it, then you can say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna, I'm going to do one book a week, and you're going to pay me an insane amount of money, and or one book a month. And,
not trying to compare. When I hire people, I have to have that conversation with them. This isn't your standard job.
Right.
Like most people want holidays off. They want a guaranteed summer break. They want this and that. This is the opposite. If it's a holiday, you're mandatory to be here.
Yeah, the holidays is the high demand. It's when we need.
And they're all perfectly fine with it when they want a job, but let the first president
until the holiday shows up. Yeah,
I need President's Day off. Do you?
Right.
Do you?
That's like I'm the job I'm working now and the things I'm doing right now. I've got both East Coast and West Coast clients, that I'm helping, projects that I'm running, and so it's like it just the time zone wise, you're working a 12-hour day. That's just the way it is, because you've got to be able to accommodate everybody. So you're, and sometimes it's like that. I think the big problem that people had with this situation was him kind of putting him on blast
on social media.
It's like, you know what? This dude's got to manage his own career. So why don't you, just say thanks for your hard work and, find somebody, then you just go out and find somebody else. There's no need to.
There's no need to blast him.
Yeah.
But they sound like they knew each other for a long time too, so I'm not going to assume too much of their dynamic. I don't ever necessarily go into social media to blast somebody unless it's the Georgia post office, because they leave you no other option. I do want to say, for All In this week, we did have a beautiful looking new comic book day rack, though.
That Green Arrow cover, man. Taryn Clark just killed that thing.
These things look so good when you start collecting them next to each other, and these matching all white covers with their logos behind them and them just splash paging it. It's really cool. Did you read Green Arrow? Oh, you didn't get your books this week.
I haven't gotten it yet.
This is the epilogue to Absolute Power that
the foil ones look good too.
Yeah.
Paul's always showing off.
Yeah, of course he's got the foil. But yeah, Green Arrow was solid. Tom Taylor surprised me with Detective Comics, telling a very personal story about why it is that Batman values life so much. I don't want to say a no-kill rule, but literally just you see where he gets that concept that like every life is inherently valuable, no matter who you are. Just life itself automatically comes with value, and it goes back to an event and a practice that his dad had as a doctor.
We almost have like the anti Spider-Man situation that occurs. So it's kind of interesting. So
abusive boyfriend comes in critical on a gurney from a car wreck. The girlfriend comes in too, and that's how they know the boyfriend's a spouse beater. And the doctor's like, "Yo, just let him go." But Thomas was there, like, "We don't just let people go, and I'm going to pretend you never said that." And goes in and saves the guy's life, and he's having the conversation back home that night with his wife. And Bruce overhears and have a heartfelt conversation about like the value of life and stuff. And the next day he goes into work, and that patient's doing better and up and cussing at the doctors and trying to fight with people because he's ready to go despite his condition. And Thomas like, he's gonna make it. We'll sign his papers. Go ahead and release Joe Chill, and sends him out. So Thomas Wayne saved Joe Chill's life, and later down the road just becomes one of his victims.
Mm-hmm.
It was a solid issue.
It was.
And I'm gonna feel a little weird saying this too. This was good.
Okay.
It was.
No, that's good.
We talked about it this week too.
Turn around.
But you know why?
Nope, pump the brakes.
Because we're not fully on the size Spurrier hype machine yet, but this was just it was a much different whole atmosphere in the book.
Oh, some as well.
Yeah, and the thing was, you and I talked this week, and I said, when Cy Spurrier is writing for Flash fans, like he did in this book, it comes across really well. When he's writing, like it seems like he's writing his doctoral dissertation, which is what he did in the first, however many of issues. Yeah, it's boring, and it's just like that's not what the Flash is about.
The family dynamic because of the events that have gone on, like all these all-in books that are jump-on points are taking place 52 weeks after the events of Absolute Power across the DC line. Everything like the week after Absolute Power ends, it's 52 weeks later, so that you're not bogged down by that, and it's a good jumping on point. So the family's trying to get away. They're trying to just go, stretch their legs, do some family stuff, which is very on brand for like current Flash stuff. That's really what you're kind of looking for in them. And they go to the center of the earth. They know some people that know some people that been some places. So how do you say it? It's like a
Guitarist.
Yeah, with Warlord and stuff. He even pops up in
Morgan.
Yep, and we get to see. It was already shown in Titans, but you get the little conversation between Barry, who is depowered, because after the events of Absolute Power, a lot of stuff is a little wonky because the power drain that took place and power's coming back. But Barry gives Wally his old ring suit and everything, just as a little memento. And Wally flashes out the new awesome looking costume, the red and black with the designs down it. It looks great. But it's just kind of a whimsical, fun, lighthearted Flash read, which, man, we've been missing that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just good. It was good.
It was really
That's
good.
why I'm done. That's good to hear. I don't know that I'm going to pick it up, but that's why I'm excited about
I can't recommend anybody pick it up.
The absolute Flash. When they announced that, I was like,
Jeff Lemire too.
Yeah, and I'm like, please, just because I think the Flash family, they could cut that in half. That's way too much. It's way too big, too many Flashes. So I'm hoping Absolute Flash is just focused on Wally for a good.
I think they recognize that too, because if you look at it, Bart and Max are always just off Bart and Maxing. You can play with those characters when you want, but they're always doing their own thing. They're good for a one shot here and there. Send Bart back to the future, take Max with him. They're doing their Zen thing, whatever. Jay has no reason to be in this book except as a special appearance. That dude's still busy running a team of his own. The JSA is an ongoing title. Right. And so Jay has no business being in here. Barry is depowered, sidelined him, which is fine. So we're down to Wally. We're down to Wally and his immediate family, which is perfect because it's you got his daughter and his son that have their own things going on and all that good stuff. Yeah, the super family is massive too, but we'll see how they fare the other side of this storyline. But yeah, it was surprising. I enjoyed it a lot.
Perfect segue though into Superman.
Issue number 19, a semi-new creative team now. Jump on
Yeah.
point for new readers. Still Joshua Williamson, but we have DC Comics superstar artist Dan Mora has been promoted from World's Finest to the big leagues with Superman. He's rocking ongoing title in continuity now. And this is the first issue of the long-awaited return of Doomsday, who's been fighting his way out of hell for like the past better half of almost a year and a half, 2 years now.
Yeah.
But he shows up rampaging, and we get Superman and Lois as Superwoman to the scene. We don't know how she got her powers. I just assume it's from the powers returning at the end of Absolute Power. And we also get who's the Legion bad guy character in there, Paul?
The Time Trapper.
Yeah, the Time Trapper watching events. It starts with the Time Trapper and Superman at the end of time. Standing in the sun and bartering with each other, and it flashes back to modern day events. And then at the end, you get a reveal that Doomsday pops out. They go to fight, and everything freezes except for Superman. He turns around, and he's talking to the Time Trapper who's there, who reveals himself to be an old, skinny-looking, talking Doomsday, which was wild.
Yeah, the Time Trapper has been one of those characters. It's been, I mean, if you remember, it was Superboy Prime at one point, was the Time Trapper. So the Time Trapper has gone through multiple iterations, and I don't know if we're supposed to be, these are different versions of the Time Trapper from different timelines or whatever, but it was kind of interesting to have Doomsday. So now we have the Doomsday that we think could probably crush, Superman, as well as the Time Trapper Doomsday there as well.
Now, what did he say to him? I got to look. He said, we have been enemies for millennia, but now I need your help. So,
right.
All skinny and stuff. Wow. Yeah, Dan Mora's art is phenomenal. It's so perfect for Superman.
And he's going to be doing 2 books, isn't he?
Justice League Unlimited. He's going to be doing that as well.
I don't know how he's that good and that fast.
Oh, he's fast, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, remember George Perez in his heyday, he could do 3 or 4 books,
Yeah, the fact that he did like that War of the Gods crossover with every character at the same time he was doing Infinity Gauntlet is nuts.
He was at one point.
He stopped at issue 3 of Infinity Gauntlet, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
He was doing at one point. He was doing. He did New Teen Titans and Justice League and Avengers.
Yep.
All at the same time.
And now these days they can't even color someone else's art on time.
Right? Come on, man.
and now they advertise an artist who's gone by issue 2.
Yeah, they can't keep the guy on for 3 consecutive issues. People can't color on a tablet fast.
Time Trapper is entropy. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great week for DC stuff all around the board. Rook number 6 also came out, which is the conclusion to the first story arc for Ghost Machine's Rook, and it was a fantastic conclusion, a bunch of action. You get to see if certain characters make it or die, talking about Carapace. We got the whole classic Silo finale where you get some answers to some stuff, but then they drop on you the Direwolf's dad, who's like crucial in designing all this tech for Better World, is alive and out there, and the only person that has the knowledge of the technology to potentially save the planet enough for them to live on it. So they're going to have to be searching for him in volume 2. And the big reveal of who Ursol is was, I don't know. His mask is fused to his head, but the actual twist to it was he didn't come to Exodus with the rest of them. So Better World, that they thought abandoned them, actually sent a team back to Exodus to slaughter them, take the tech back for the company. So the company is getting very Weyland-Yutani on us with the lack of caring about lives and stuff. Yeah, Pet Bettina never missed a deadline. Me and Pops were talking about that because we were looking ahead to see how many Space Ghost covers were solicited. Because the Bettina controversy came out and he dropped him, and I'm like, please don't drop Space Ghost. So I've been watching, hoping that he didn't. The options are he turned in like, here's 12 covers.
Right.
I'll see you the next time you contract me, kind of thing. Or he was only working a cover or 2 ahead at a time. But every month another one's added to the back end of the solicitation. And Pops was like, yeah, I bet he was probably able to turn in as many as he wanted to.
Right. Who do you want it to look like? You just tell me.
It looks like Olivetti Space Ghost and the Alex Ross cover series, like 6-issue mini he did. I think for DC and Olivetti did the interiors.
For DC, yeah.
Yeah, that was an amazing series. But he looks like Space Ghost, but it's just the colors, man.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff. But Rook was fantastic. It is on hiatus until I think February 2025. In the meantime, Hyde Street releases at the end of this. I guess this coming week. We got Hyde Street.
Devour comes out this Wednesday.
This Wednesday. Yeah, I haven't looked at solicitations. I haven't done new
It's a small week because it's a 5th week.
Perfect. I can use it.
Yeah.
And then we have the Rockefellers and Hornsby and Halo are coming next too. So we're not going to be without Ghost Machine by any stretch of the imagination. We're just getting that second wave of Ghost Machine, kind of like we were just talking about, the second wave of Absolute that'll drop in March. But good stuff. What else you got, Paul?
Well, we didn't actually talk about this one.
Oh, we didn't. I just mentioned it was like epilogue to
plus it's the prologue to the new writer coming in as well in the second story.
Right. Oh, in the annual?
No, there's 2 stories in here.
I know the backup was the annual, wasn't it?
No, the backup is the new writer and artist that are starting in the next issue.
I thought the title of it was the Green Lantern Annual 2024.
No, the end of the first story said to be continued in.
Got you.
Yeah. So Joshua Williamson, the last story he's writing for Green Arrow is the annual, the 2024 annual.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. So basically, he has his little scene with Amanda Waller again in the Joshua Williams story to kind of wrap up everything that's going along, and he has a reunion with the Justice League, and they basically welcome him back, although he thinks he's going to kick him out. And then, of course, Batman says he doesn't trust him, because he basically says, you're the last person who should talk about having a plan to take everybody down. It felt safe.
It even went back farther than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, all back to the Tower of Babel, right?
Yeah.
So, and then this, exactly, and then the second story kind of sets up the new writer Chris Condon and the new artist Montos that's coming out, kind of a prelude type of a thing. He's basically Arthur is going to become another. He's getting all his money in. He's going to become involved in trying to make the city a better city and everything. So we'll see how that goes. So, but solid ending for Joshua Williamson's monthly issues anyway.
Yeah, it was funny watching the apology to the Justice League because he went to the Watchtower. He's like, look, guys, I want y'all to know I was doing what I thought was best, and I know I'll let y'all hang in, but I mean, y'all would have done the same thing. And now that I think about it, I saved y'all. So you're welcome. You know what? I'm not sorry. All of y'all, he never gave him time to respond and just went through all the ranges of emotions, and Superman just does the hand on the shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. I know Mark's not getting this, but Nightwing also started with their new Dexter Soy on the art. Dan Waters is writing the story, so really looking forward to this. Basically, we have a new someone who's kind of like a puppeteer, kind of pulling all the strings in Bloodhaven. But what he does is we see all the bosses of all the different parts of Bloodhaven together. And they're kind of dividing up the city and saying, hey, you know what? We've had too many of these, turf wars going on where basically nobody wins. So, you can take this side and, just pay your dues, and you can take this side and everything. Nightwing jumps into the middle of the meeting and, start to take everybody down. And then as soon as he does that, this puppeteer or whatever kind of blows up everyone. And so now he's basically saying he blew up all the bosses and underbosses. So he's now trying to take over Bloodhaven. And we'll see where that goes. But solid first issue by Dan Waters. So.
And who did you say was doing the art?
Dexter Soy.
I don't know that name.
Yeah.
It'll be that's going to be those are some tough shoes to fill. So that'll be interesting to see where that title goes, if it can. Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's how I feel about the Green Arrow title.
Yeah. I was very, like I said, when they said, okay, this is winding down and it's going to be a new team, I was like, what? No. I'd just fallen in love with this team, but
it had a good run, I guess. What was that, 17 issues?
Yeah,
That's about
So-
modern day.
that's pretty solid in the modern era.
So, was this the one that you were holding up before?
Simpatico.
Yeah.
I'm ready to pick.
Elseworld continues to expand. Green Lantern Dark, Return of the Tangent Green Lantern. I thought this was a one-shot, not when I bought it, but as I read it, as the story structure played out, and as we rush to a conclusion to this, we get introduced to the Tangent world where all the superheroes are dead. They died in a battle against Solomon Grundy, who in this world has the ability to use the rot to raise the dead and plant life and everything. So it was almost like an army that they had to contend with. Where the Green Lantern is the only one left standing. People live kind of post-apocalyptic light where they live in the dark, and the darkness is ever increasing every day. The sunlight gets less and less and the darkness gets longer and longer, and they almost like religiously follow the legend of the Green Lantern in hopes that that she's out there somewhere keeping them safe. And this small town has a run-in with an infected person, which is like infected, like raised up Solomon Grundy. And once Grundy knows you're there, he comes for you, kind of thing. So you get a battle of this small town against the invading Grundy horde, and this little girl that idolizes Green Lantern kind of gives her the push to stay and help fight, because she thinks that whenever she uses her lantern, it attracts Grundy because of the light, so she wants to get away. But she realizes she has to stay and fight to help save the town. And they give a cool little moment in the fight and everything, with the little girl actually wills herself to be like an extension of the Green Lantern light to get a hoorah moment. And it felt like a complete ending story with Grundy being vanquished, but it said that there was only part 1 when I finished it. So I don't know what's in store for this title.
Yeah, it says chapter 1 at the end. So, yeah, I was the same way. I knew this was just from the solicitations. I knew that this was more than one. But as I was reading it and I finished it, I'm like, oh, this could have ended right here, and that would have been totally satisfying. Yeah, exactly, satisfying. So,
but it was cool.
Yeah,
I'm interested to pick that
up. Yeah, it was worth it.
I back during the original Tangent ones they did, they were one shots. I felt like that Green Lantern one was the one I was like, oh, I'd really like to see more of this. And so, here we are. I don't know how many years later. And it's like, oh, okay.
It didn't show them die. We just know that the heroes fell in battle. They haven't been seen.
Right. Yeah. But last one that I have is the Action Comics. 2 Superman issues came out this week, both Superman and Action Comics, because Action Comics is weekly. So this is Mark Waid. If you recall, in the first issue, we had this thing escape from the Phantom Zone, a 3-headed thing that escaped from the Phantom Zone. It was screaming in Kryptonian. Basically, what it was screaming was "kill me." So he actually went into Superman, then goes back into the Phantom Zone to try to see what's going on. And he says, if there are things going on there and people are becoming this, he goes, I can't, as much as, they're there for a reason in the Phantom Zone, I have to see if I can go help them. So he goes back in there. At the end of the last issue, we find out that he meets up again with Mon-El, who is actually in the Phantom Zone as well, because if you recall, he had lead poisoning, and the only way that he could survive was to be put into the Phantom Zone until they could find a cure for whatever was going on.
A lot of Legion love going on this week.
It really is, yeah. So we find out, we find at the end of the last issue, Superman's main foe, or his deadliest foe that was in the Phantom Zone, turned out to be Mon-El, but we find out in this issue that that's because Mon-El has actually had a mutiny against this guy and took over his ship and everything, and so that's why he is there. So,
and you have a master puppeteer playing the scenes that have been the one that responsible for affecting the Phantom Zone, turning it into an actual reality, and bringing these killers and prisoners back into a tangible state where they can exist in here, and causing all this haywire. I'm trying. What was that character's name?
Aether. Aethyr, I think.
Okay, yeah, we get the reveal that character's coming for a reality now.
Right. He's coming for the real reality, the Clark Kent, Lois Lane reality. So that was the reveal at the very end.
Yeah.
So
And
and also the character that Mon-El ended up doing the mutiny against, he manages to escape because they have him in chains. But what happens is because of the immateriality that kind of phases through the Phantom Zone, it happens to phase through, and so the shackles that he in just kind of drop off. And he goes back to Aether and says, "Hey, this guy, Superman, my hated foe, the person that is responsible for everybody here, is here. You now can go and take over his reality." And he says, basically, I already am.
Mhm. Already doing it, and this is weekly too. That's pretty. Yeah, every week we get a new Action Comics, which is pretty cool. They haven't done that for Action, and I don't know when, but they do it for Detective often.
Yeah. They haven't done it for Action Comics since probably Action Comics Weekly.
Yeah. Another one I picked up this week, kind of random. It was just a one shot, but it was an Alien Romulus movie prequel, and I wanted to know more that happened on the Renaissance space station, and this was really cool. Exactly what you think happened. Yeah,
That's
whatever
sweet.
you would
That's
assume
nice.
happened, that's what happened.
Yeah, realistically, it is time, but they all seem really pissed, and so I don't think they would really do really well.
None of them have had any good behavior.
Exactly.
Like how they said that Aether or whatever, as soon as you started materializing them and giving them a real place to exist versus the Phantom Zone, they immediately picked up a rock and started trying to kill each other.
Right.
Like, these are the wrong people, bro. Then that's what he realized. Like, all right, so I can't just like give these guys anything nice. I'm gonna have to rule over them and give them a hierarchy and something to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm excited to see where it goes. Mark Waid seems to be doing a decent job.
Yes, we're
The
just
rest
we're
of the
hoping
stuff I have not read yet.
we're holding on to Mark Waid as long as we can because we know who comes after him. John Woodley.
Oh, in action, yeah. Good God. When John Ridley run starts, I'm just going to reread this run or go back and start Philip Kennedy Johnson's run again. Yo, it's been good. We've had a good couple year run on action. Like, they drug us through the mud for a while with the Bendis stuff.
Mhm.
And then they blessed us with Philip Kennedy Johnson. And then it's just been tip top since.
Mhm.
So every now and then you got to have your knees knocked out from under you.
That's all I have too.
Oh, what a bummer! What a downer to end it on. John
Well,
Ridley.
then let's talk about tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, 8:30 on my channel. We have DC Comics Deep Dive is back. Special live episode. We're going to be covering DC Comics Absolute Power Task Force 7, number 7. We're going to be covering. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. We're going to be covering Absolute Power number 4, and we're going to be covering DC All In. And as we've done in the past, when we finish up a major event, we'll be having a giveaway too. So you could win the free comic book day, the foil edition. You could win Absolute Power Ground Zero, the foil. You could win all 7 of the Absolute Power Task Force 7 issues in foil. You could win Absolute Power Super Sun in foil. You could win issues number 1 through 4. These are actually raised UV foil.
Yeah, those are amazing.
So these
Those
are
are fire.
even better. So
Hot.
those 4, and then one of the hottest books, DC Comics All In. This is the DC Bullet logo. Besides Absolute Power and the Absolute Universe kicking off, it brought back the Bullet logo,
It
which
did.
is almost
That
as good as
completely-
everything else.
That completely sold out at ABX like in 2 days.
Yeah.
All
Oh, yeah.
covered.
There,
All covers.
that thing sold out here. I mean, I only really have one solid comic shop that's close to me, but like there's a couple there like an hour away or something like that, and I was calling around to all of them. I was like, I'll make the drive, but they were like gone.
Mhm. And I
Like
wonder
those ones are like they're comic shops, but their main focus is like magic cards and
gaming, yeah.
gaming and
I
stuff like
wonder
that.
how much. I wonder what all drove it. Like, it had like so much going for it, with it being the kickoff of a Jump On Point, the start of All In, death of Darkseid. Like I remember when they announced like Darkseid, like the storyline, like the basic plot synopsis involves the words Darkseid's death written in it, and some people were like, "Why would you spoil it? Why?" I'm like, dude, that's not the kicker. Like that's
Right.
not going to be the kicker. Go like stay excited for this book, pick it up. But then as it gets here, it gets revealed like that you get your first appearance of the Absolutes.
Mhm.
So that book has everything going for it.
Yeah.
And then it had a
Right.
John Jay variant too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be hyping it, guys, and I think everybody should be there tomorrow night because you guys do a great job with that show. And for somebody who like me who can't pick up everything, all those every week, being able to just watch you guys, and it's like, okay, they can at least keep me in the loop to the bigger story. So I encourage everybody to be there. I have cleared space in this bin right here, though. So
You're
I'm
prepared.
positive and planning ahead, and just going to cross my fingers. But I want as many folks there as possible to give me a challenge.
Yeah.
Definitely.
and to
And
see.
if Brother John doesn't win, I hope some John does.
Exactly.
Well, I
100%.
appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. Paul, thank you as always. John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's fun to actually get to hang out with you too, because normally I just get to watch you have fun.
Yeah. Well, always a good time, and I appreciate you.
But
You
it's
hit
time
me
for bed. All right, until next time. I'll have a video. I'll record a video sometime tomorrow, hopefully. I don't have a video planned yet for tomorrow. I'm behind on things, but we'll live.
All right.
Make sure the notification bell's on till then.
There you go.
There you go.
Peace.
Bye.